Okay, the iPad 2 is here. Steve Jobs unveiling Apple's updated version of its tablet computer, of course, yesterday at that huge event in California. The models are faster, thinner, two cameras, and it comes in white mark. Apple stock getting a push higher over the last couple of days, thanks in part to that announcement, plus the fact, of course, that Steve Jobs turned up for the event, which took a lot of people by surprise and made them happy. Can Apple continue its success? And what should investors and techies everywhere take from the Apple event this week? Andy Hargreaves is a senior research analyst at Pacific Crest Securities, and Jon Rettinger is a blogger with TechnoBuffalo. Thank you both for calling us. Andy, let me kick off with you. A great new model, thinner, two cameras, whereas before there were no cameras, and lots of additional features. Nobody seems to be talking about margin here. Presumably the Apple II is more costly to make than the Apple I iPad. Does that not pull margins down?
Well, yeah. I mean, usually with their product transitions, you're going to see a little blip in margins, but they've been better than anybody at the world at managing the supply chain from a component cost perspective. And I don't see anything going on right now, especially with their recent component pre-purchase deals, that's going to change that.
John, a lot of people would credit the bloggers as being as accurate, if not more accurate, than the analysts on Apple. Where do you see the stock going?
You were talking about margins. A little lower margin can certainly be made up with bulk sales. Apple moved 15 million iPads in 2010, Steve Jobs announced, and they're speculating they can move as many as 40 million in 2011.
So where would that take the stock in your view?
Certainly up, I think would be the logical explanation. The market is very excited for the tablet. It's very tablet hungry. Certainly Apple's been a beacon of innovation in the past. The iPad 2 is viewed a bit more evolutionary than revolutionary, but still bringing a lot of features that people were expecting and hoping for.
I guess the market there's a significant, pun intended, core of Apple buyers who are going to buy whatever the company comes out with, aren't they?
There are always the dedicated Apple fans who will go out there and support the company regardless. But I think what you're going to see is a huge influx of buyers that were waiting for this generation of iPad. Those that were waiting for the new one to come out. You heard it countlessly at Apple retail stores. You heard it reported online. People wanted thinner. People wanted cameras. And they were looking for faster. Now, while it's not a revolutionary design or anything that we couldn't have predicted, the 2x speed increase and the 9x better graphic prowess potentially are going to be a big boon to consumers.
Let's get some thoughts from Andy on this whole thing. Andy, what do you think it's going to mean, Apple iPad 2?
Well, as Simon mentioned, the white iPad 2 is probably going to sell a shocking number as well.
No, just because it's white, wow. What's the thing about white?
It's not that wow to me, but apparently to a lot of people it is. I step back again and always look at the ecosystem advantage that these guys have, and there's just nobody that can match them on content and apps. And really, the hardware improvements are nice. They are evolutionary, but it's the software and the ecosystem that drives sales, and I don't see anything changing the momentum that they have.
Where do you think the stock will go to, Andy?
We think it goes to 420 in the next, actually by the end of 2011, and that's based on a multiple that I think is pretty reasonable considering the growth rate right now.
Gentlemen, thank you both. Andy Hargreaves and Jon Rettinger, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.